Hello, this is Sevin Philips, and I'm going to start off by talking about chemistry. Now, a lot of us feel this magical element when we're dating somebody where you feel really connected to them and you don't know why. It just feels really good and things are going good and you get really excited, and this elation is a very pleasant feeling for most of us. And at some level, I do believe that this exists, this chemistry, this intuition about somebody and getting a real good feeling about somebody. And I also believe that a lot of us get in trouble by being in fantasy about somebody. There might be something true about them. They might be a really nice person, or they have certain qualities that they're exhibiting that are very attractive, and you start having this real good feeling about the person. And then we sometimes fill in the blanks, with fantasy because we really don't know the person. So what I'm suggesting is that we be a little more discerning. And one of the things I think that kind of leads to this, desire to want to fill in the blanks is that, many of us, at least in the American culture, have grown up with, movies, fairy tales of, knights in shining armor and people coming in and things just working out. And also, if you think about all the love stories and most of the movies in American culture, at least, that, a lot of these relationships, if you really examine them, they hardly know each other, but yet they seem to be okay and live happily ever after. So I think it's kind of, at least on a societal level, implied that this can happen. And I'm not saying that it can't happen. I just think more often than not, people get in trouble with it versus it actually happening. So by being discerning, we're able to help ourselves. It doesn't mean you have to stop the magic, but just step back, examine things sometimes, take a breath. Does this person have the qualities that I really want to have in a relationship? Another thing is that, when we're really new in a relationship, when we don't know people, and with this desire, this longing to be in a relationship, we sometimes project what we want the person to be. So we'll see a quality, and we'll project the rest of it, and we'll kind of ignore it because we want to ignore it, because we want to feel good so bad. And that's a very dangerous place to be, because many of us could spend a long time with somebody, and really they're not the right person. A couple of examples where I see this being a good idea, which is really being discerning, is like if you're dating. I hear this a lot with the online daters. There's a lot of people out there that just want to casually date. And if you're not one of those people, it's pretty upsetting to constantly get people who you have a good time with, but then they don't want to go anywhere with the relationship. So, asking questions earlier on, even though it's so hard to do because we're afraid, I'm going to give the person the wrong impression, they're going to think I'm too desperate, or they're going to think that I already want to marry them and I hardly know them. And so we scare ourselves from being able to ask these questions. But you have to ask yourself, if we don't ask these questions, we could fall in love, we could be with this person, and months, years down the road, find out they're not the right person. This also could be true for women, like in their early 30s. Let's say, someone wants to has children, and she doesn't want to be spending 2 years with this person and finding out later that they don't want to have children. So at some level, we need to ask. So the suggestion that I offer around this is, say it early on. Obviously, first date would be pushing it, but at some point, more than you're probably to be comfortable with, bring it up and say, hey, I know we don't know if we're going to be together or how things are working out between us, but I'm starting to like you, and as a result, I just kind of want to know what you're looking for and what you want to have happen in your life, and just at least open the door for the conversations. Whether it's specifically about children or whether it's about are you looking for a long-term relationship when you find the right person? Whether it's you or not, it's just good to ask the question. You want to really feel the person wants what you want, so that you're on the right track and you're spending your time with somebody you want to spend it with. Some suggestions that I have to offer is, one, take a pen out and paper. Write down what you want to have in a relationship. Even if you've done this, you think, in the past, do it again, because we're constantly changing. We're constantly learning new things about ourselves. But write down all the things that you want to have in a relationship, qualities, anything you can think of. And then I also want you to pull out of there at least 1, 2, maybe even 3 things that you can't live without. Like, you're clear enough that if somebody didn't have this quality, like for instance, if they didn't want children, I wouldn't want to be with them, that kind of thing. Or I want somebody to be kind. So if they're critical, or you see them as a could be potentially mean person, that you immediately would understand, like, this is a no-go for me. I'm not willing to do that. So start that way, because that's where you have to really learn what to discern between before you're able to really check it out with the person you're dating. And another thing I would suggest is that when you're letting go of somebody, let's say you've decided, I don't want to be dating this person for whatever reason, a growing group of people out there, I feel, mainly out of embarrassment or just uncomfort, don't want to actually end the dating situation. And in some way, I know we're not in a committed relationship, but in some way you've dedicated time and energy and money and into dating somebody, and when you've decided you don't want to date them, it is so respectful to even email, talk to the person, just say, hey, I've decided this isn't what's best for me and I'm going to move on. And we're so afraid of hurting everyone's feelings, but in reality, when you just fade away and not tell somebody that you're leaving, it actually can do much more harm. We have a lot of trust issues, I think, kind of stemming around things like this. So my suggestion to you is to just do the respectful thing and be clear with people. And in the long run, I think you'll respect yourself. And in maybe even the long run, you run into them in the future and they have a lot of respect for you because you'll be one of the few people that have possibly done this for them. And the last thing I would suggest is that there's this new growing kind of condition. I think it's brought up from egalitarianism, and we're a changing world where the roles of men and women have, I think, changed dramatically in the last 5-10 years. And so what I find is that there's almost this democracy in dating now, where I hear a lot of complaints from clients who come in where like, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? And there's this like exchange back and forth, and like everyone's wanting to figure it out together like a democracy, right? But one thing that gets lost in the fire, I think, from the egalitarianism is that we don't really get to just take over and give somebody a gift. And I think a lot of people are longing for this. So this would be, just coming up with an idea of what you want to do, something unique, something magical, something fun, and just saying, hey, I want to take you out to this place Wednesday night, this is what we're going to do, will you come? And just basically come up with the idea on your own. And it's such a gift to really think about somebody, to want to share something maybe that's important to you to share with the other person is a great way to get to know them. So this kind of a magical exchange or gift giving of just coming up with the ideas of dates, I think is an important thing that I don't want people to let go of. So I hope you enjoyed this second part of dating, and I'll talk to you on the other side. Take care.